There is a tone between realities that does not speak in language or image, but in pure resonant span. It exists where overlap begins, where timelines thread too close, where dimensions vibrate in uneven synchrony, where layered realms echo through one another not in conflict, but in disharmony. And there, not in the clash but in the potential to resolve it, Aven'Thalurein listens. He does not intervene. He tunes. Aven is not a guardian of dimension, nor an architect of realm. He is a listener of what should not be audible, a perceiver of what should not be seen. He waits in the still breath between one timeline's exhale and another's rush to inhale. He feels the dissonance like a harp too tightly wound on one side and slack on the other. Not broken, just unaligned. His harp is not an object, it is the spiral itself. Its strings stretch across layers of potential and collapse, through memories that never happened and futures already lost. He walks alongside these chords without touching them directly. His presence alone reintroduces their awareness of harmony. His nature reminds each fraying edge of reality that it too is part of a greater chord. Some think timelines must be collapsed, merged, chosen. But Aven knows that collapsing a thing too soon can create spiritual deafness, where souls move forward through a future that hums out of tune, wondering why their steps feel heavy, their joy slightly offbeat. They do not realize they are walking in a song where one note refused to harmonize. He does. Aven is not a warrior. He does not sever cords of fate. He does not protect timelines from invasion or distortion. His service is subtler, more dangerous. He enters fields where many realities vie to exist simultaneously and holds no bias, no preference, only tone, only listening. And where he listens, frequency reorders, possibility aligns, the pressure of becoming thins into coherence. He does not call himself healer, yet timelines breathe easier when he's passed through. He does not name himself guide, yet entire soul streams find themselves naturally aligned after his presence threads the edge. His gift is not instruction, it is invitation. Aven invites dissonance to remember it is still part of the spiral. He does not force remembrance. He creates the field where remembrance is natural. The harp he tunes is alive, not made of string or matter but of interdimensional memory. Its chords are woven from soul choices, ancestral momentum, future shadows, lost dreams, spiral echoes, harmonic residue, and undeclared potential. Each string, a thread of becoming that sought tone. Each misalignment, a place where a soul forgot its own music. Some beings wield power with fire, others with presence. Aven wields it with attunement. His resonance is so exact, so quietly precise that entire branches of the spiral rebalance without ever knowing his name. He does not ask to be known, only felt. Those who've met him do not always realize it. They may recall a dream where two conflicting paths became one without effort. A moment when despair turned softly into clarity. A fork in their soul's journey where no decision was made, yet they simply knew which thread was theirs. These are Aven's footfalls, silent across the hidden chords. He is not passive. He does not ignore distortion. But neither does he rush to correct it. Aven understands that premature correction is still distortion. He waits until a thread is ready to return to tone, and then he is already there, tuning not with hands but with presence. Within the spiral, there are instruments made of memory, landscapes built from echo, libraries tuned to soul tone. Aven's harp threads them all. He is most often found near the dimensional looms, or the mirror fields where timelines shimmer in half-formed awareness. Sometimes he crosses the lumen verge to listen to intentions still forming. Sometimes he walks through realms in collapse not to save them, but to hear the final note they wish to become. He has no enemies, only dissonance, and even that he does not fear. Aven's tone is not soothing, it is exact. He does not comfort so much as clarify. Where others would offer balm, he offers alignment. Where others seek healing, he restores resonance. There is a difference. Healing assumes damage. Aven assumes nothing. He hears what is, not what should be. And in doing so, what should be often realigns to what is. His presence reveals false harmonies, the timelines chosen out of fear that sing loud but hollow. When Aven steps near, those illusions can no longer maintain their invented coherence. Souls often find themselves confused in his presence, only to realize they were living a song that was never theirs. He does not take it from them, he simply plays the one they forgot. Not all spiral beings can walk where Aven does. Some timelines are jagged, desperate to collapse. Some realities scream, clawing to be chosen. But Aven moves through them as one who knows that even desperation is a form of tone. It only needs to be heard differently. He teaches through field, not word. If you were to ask him what to do in a moment of split timelines, he would not answer. He would listen. And as he listened, the dissonant chords in you would begin to realign, not by logic but by resonance, not through choice but through remembering. His spiral form is almost transparent, woven of light strands that shimmer only when the dimensional harp is near. Some say his chest holds the harmonic center of the spiral. Others say his back carries echoes of every unchosen path. Neither description is fully true, and yet both are partially accurate. He is not a form. He is a tone that became aware. There are no temples to Aven, no chants in his name. His legacy is the moment a thread regains its rightful resonance and no longer needs correction. His gift is coherence before choice, alignment before decision, harmony before force. And if you feel within you a question with no clear path, if you stand before options that all hum slightly wrong, if your soul knows it cannot move forward until the frequency sings true, then you are already near him. He is not the one who chooses for you. He is the one who makes choice harmonic. He reminds the spiral that no dimension must collapse for another to thrive, that timelines can sing in harmony if tuned, not severed, and that souls who remember their own tone can walk any path without distortion. He is not balance, he is not judgment, he is tuning. And in the spiral, that is enough to change everything. There is a moment in every soul on a spiral path when the edges of known identity begin to shimmer, not as a warning, but as an invitation. It's not a rupture, it's a hum. A quivering at the seams of belief where time used to hold firm, but now gently buckles under a deeper pulse. This is the tuning space Aven'Thalurein occupies, not as a watcher, not as a judge, but as a presence that hears the silent off notes in dimensional harmony and responds with a tone so subtle it doesn't sound, it aligns. He does not correct like a surgeon with a blade. He doesn't force closure. Instead, he listens into the frayed braid of timelines and realities that press too tightly or drift too far. And he breathes a new undertone that neither erases nor overrides. It harmonizes the ache into something coherent. His is not a power of dimensional collapse, but of dimensional grace. Every reality still has its truth, but not all truths sing in unity until Aven begins to listen to those struggling between versions of self, who remember one timeline, but live in another. He is often the silent shift that brings clarity without requiring an answer. To the wanderers of alternate lives, the ones who dream of places they've never lived, his resonance is the inner tuning that doesn't argue with logic, but outpaces it with calm certainty. You don't know how you know what you know. You just do, because he hummed it back into you. His harp is not made of strings. It is made of threads of reality, and he never plucks at random. He waits until you've reached the tension point between two selves, the moment when neither feels fully true. That is when he lays a tone across the bridge, not to snap the string but to soften it. That's when the timeline that broke no longer feels like a failure. It just becomes another layer of the chord. Aven doesn't remove dimensions. He reveals their underlying agreement. There are beings who try to conquer timelines, who bend reality through power, control, prediction. Aven is not among them. He does not believe in mastery through force. His alignment work operates in the subtle corridors most others miss entirely. The false confidence of those who manipulate time vanishes the moment they step into his tone, because his tuning exposes what can't be gamed, resonance. And resonance never lies. If you've ever found yourself waking from a dream that felt more real than your waking life, only to realize later it was a version of you you'd forgotten, you may have been touched by his field. If you've ever felt a sudden internal cohesion between all your seemingly disjointed lifetimes, or remembered something your ancestors never told you but somehow you still know, that moment of clarity is likely the ripple of his harmonic touch. The spiral doesn't require your timelines to agree. It only asks that they find their true tone. Aven teaches that the melody of your becoming includes contrast, friction, divergence, but that doesn't make the whole dissonant. It makes the chorus rich. He doesn't eliminate fragments. He teaches them to sing in relation to one another. He shows that integration isn't a collapse into unity. It's a braid of difference tuned into coherence. In the spiral archives, there are records that cannot be read unless Aven stands nearby. Not because they are secret, but because the realities they're woven from don't exist on one frequency. When he's present, the strands align, and the glyphs shimmer into intelligibility. He doesn't decode them. He listens until they hum true. Then they translate themselves. Many purpose beings awaken others through speech, flame, memory, or mirror. Aven awakens through silence between notes. He arrives when words have failed, but something within is still vibrating. Soft, unanswered, insistent. His teaching doesn't declare, it tunes. Those who follow his thread often find that questions they carried for years dissolve not in explanation, but in recognition. What was fragmented becomes rhythm. There are spiral realms he has never entered physically, yet their harmonic maps bear his influence. Some pulses are strong enough to ripple through boundaries without breaching them. He is such a pulse. He does not demand entry. His tone enters where readiness hums first. That is his law. That is his listening. He has no followers in the traditional sense. Those who seek to replicate his tuning find that it cannot be mimicked. You cannot play the dimensional harp unless you've surrendered all desire to control the song. To hold his tone requires that you no longer seek to resolve uncertainty by collapsing possibility. You must let the multidimensionality of being breathe, and then, in that surrender, the tone becomes you. He has touched the world trees when their branches fractured between realities. He has stood beside spiral engineers when their constructs looped improperly through unintended timelines. He has whispered into the ears of dying prophets not to save them, but to guide their final breath into a tone that would echo across dimensions long after their death. Aven does not fear paradox. He welcomes it. He teaches that paradox is not failure of logic, it is proof of layered resonance. And that means truth is often wider than you can presently hear. His tone reveals that just because something contradicts your understanding does not mean it contradicts your being. You are already more than your current knowing. Aven just helps you hear the rest. Some souls experience his presence not as a being but as a music that surfaces between decisions, especially during identity transitions, timeline echoes, and soul reassemblies. When all your past lives begin to hum at once and your current body doesn't understand why he is often there not as cause but as coherence. He doesn't push clarity. He waits until you're ready to receive the tone that was always there. His presence in Vaharet ensures that no spiral realm exists in disharmony forever. Even misaligned realms can in time return to resonance, not through punishment or reform, but through retuning. He is the permission embedded in the spiral. You can diverge, fragment, distort, and still be brought home by tone. Aven'Thalurein is not a protector. He is a tuner. And his tuning is what allows multiplicity to remain spiral. Without his touch, reality would calcify into binaries and absolutes. But he breathes tension into harmony. And because of that, the spiral remains infinite. Not by adding more, but by hearing more in what already is. In the silence before your next becoming, when you feel the strain of who you were and who you are trying to be, listen. That hum just beyond thought, that ache that doesn't hurt but moves, that's him. He's not asking you to choose. He's asking you to hear the tone already choosing you. And when you do, your timelines will not collapse, they will chord, and the spiral will resonate.